Hey everybody, this is a special episode. We're going to go over best practices with FBA. We have Shane Myers, Rise and Grind Picker, as a guest. I'm going to put his channel in the link below, and he's going to give us some best practices on getting started with FBA and just in general. And this is going to be great because my channel is normally just eBay, but it's great to hear some different perspectives. On every Tuesday, we're going to have an interview as well with some Q&A. So Shane, thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you start with who you are, where you live, what you sell?
Definitely, Chris. Thanks for having me on. So I live in Illinois, and I live about 2 hours south of Chicago. And what I sell is pretty much anything I can make a buck on. And I do a lot of retail arbitrage, and that's pretty hard in itself because it's pretty hard to flip clearance. And I also sell on eBay, and I go to garage sales. Pretty much everything that I can make a buck on, I sell.
All right. So there's a lot of FBA beginners, especially people who are on eBay, definitely intimidated. I would say the number one question beyond how much money do I need, which is the same answer for any business, depends on where you're going with it. But let's start with I'm ungated in everything. How do I start?
If you're ungated in everything, like
I'm sorry, gated in everything.
if you're gated in everything, where I started out is books. So I started doing used books. I would go scan every day. I would send them in and just rinse, repeat, scan, send in, scan, send in. Used books are very low monetarily to get into and very high on the sales side.
So a question there, Shane, on I the first year I did Amazon FBA, I did probably 10 grand, only books.
Mm-hmm.
And then I basically didn't do FBA because it wasn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
But in that process, I'm ungated in Adidas.
Wow.
Even though I haven't sold any before, but just from, I was consistently doing it. So a whole bunch of brands became like, I can sell Sony. There's a bunch of, I have a lot of restrictions that are not there, even though I'm a relatively new seller. So I've heard many people, even people in this group, who've become ungated in everything, only selling books, but the volume goes to $10,000 a month or more. And I'm wondering if that's one of the main triggers.
I think one of the main I think it is. I think you have to be doing like 10 G's a little over a month. And when I started hitting that or a little over, then I started becoming just ungated in a ton of stuff, topicals, supplements, tons of toys like DC and Marvel. And so I think that's one of them. I believe so, Chris. Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about your day. How do you organize it? You're also doing YouTube. What's your family situation?
So I'm married, have kids. So it's tough, man. It is tough. So that's why I was up really late last night building a ton of shipments. My phone did not go off. It came unplugged from my charger. Alarm didn't go off. And so that's why I was late. And so that's why I am up usually pretty late every night, and I just build a ton of shipments. I send them in, and it's kind of like rinse, repeat.
What is late for you?
3-4 in the morning, and I'm usually up
Awesome.
by like 7:30 in the morning again. So
Got you.
usually up by like 7:30ish, and then I might take like a small nap during the day. On the weekends, I do like garage sales, stuff like that, because it's more fun. So I think like balancing the FBA with eBay, because I mean, I really love selling on eBay. I love going to garage sales, and that's more fun than buying stuff and putting it in a box and sending it to Amazon.
That has never appealed to me. But I found something that I think will be useful for a lot of people, which is some type of challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I know that one box a week is going to be not too easy, but sounds too boring to me. But one box a day, I would be really excited. How hard is it? Or like how much time do you need to start doing
It's
this?
hard. One box a day. Like I would say if you set like at least, I would say within an hour, as long as you have it there. Like the part where you spend the most time is sourcing, and that's where, like, if you're doing retail arbitrage, you're going out, you're traveling, you have to find the stuff. Now, if you have some wholesale contacts and you
Mhm.
went into wholesale on Amazon, it would be actually not as time consuming. You know what I mean? Because you're focusing your time looking for a wholesale product versus driving around and buying stuff at retail stores.
And you're saying an hour or so to process a box?
I would say, yeah, an hour or so, depending on what you have. Like, if you have a bunch of oversized items, it'd be longer than that. But most boxes I can knock out in like an hour or so.
Okay. And one of the questions that came in was, have you heard of anybody doing FBA consignment? And a follow-up question to that is, th- should you have a friend that's ungated and everything so you can just give all the inventory to that person in case you can't sell it?
You could, you could. The only problem is, so the one main problem is if you have someone like if Chris was ungated in Adidas and I found a bunch of stuff, and I called Chris, I'm like, hey, can I give you all this stuff? You just repay me back. The problem is if you ever get dinged on a claim where it's fake or anything like that, they're going to check the authenticity of your receipt. And you have to write the ASIN on the receipt, but you have to pay with the last four of your card that's on file for Amazon
Hmm.
in order for them to accept it.
Interesting. Okay. So have you heard of people using employee cards? That seems to make sense.
Yeah, and like people that use a discount, they can use their discount as long as they pay with like their credit card that's pretty much on file, or their
Mm,
business card. It's my business account card, so I just pretty much pay with that for everything.
that's a great tip. My thrifter uses one of my card.
Nice.
So, but I was thinking at FBA, if that is reasonable, maybe
Yeah.
have them, because this is the issue I have with hiring eBay Scout. They can just sell it. If
Right.
they find something really valuable, they can just do it themselves. But they can't do it if they're gated.
Right.
You could have a
Right.
lot more scouts hunting for you, and the amount of people who want. I think one of the biggest tips I've heard that's been working for a lot of people is hiring help for 4 hours. There's a lot of people who have 4 hours where they could help you, but not like they couldn't commit to a full-time job or something. Plus, this is a little bit repetitive.
Well, and if you have those scouts and stuff, like, you could crush it. I mean, I'm a solo. Like, I go out, I source it myself. I'm still doing eBay by I have an online VA. That's the one thing I do have for eBay, but I'm still going out and doing everything for Amazon, and I did a little over 16,000 last month. So if you have like scouts and you have, people that want to help you, you can really take this business to a next level.
So what about you, Shane? What takes you to the next level? Do you have do you live on reseller income? Is it part of your pie?
So it is a huge part. So I still have a day job and it's in sales. And so, but I kind of set my own appointments, kind of do what I want. So I
Mhm.
worked in retail for 10 years in corporate management. And so my position got eliminated. I was with Target and I took a $40,000 pay cut doing what I do now.
Wow. Okay.
And so I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm gonna have to level this up. Like, I have to do something about this.
Hmm.
And so I started just hitting Amazon FBA hard. And so it's a huge portion of my pie. But the thing is I'm making 5 times what my paychecks are for my day job right now through reselling.
Okay. So, hmm. Setting FBA goals is something foreign to me. So, like, let's say you're going to go from 16,000 to 25, or let's say 30,000, 1,000 a day. What would you do differently?
So differently, I would have a goal of finding so I have 7 wholesale accounts, but my goal would be to find a few wholesale accounts where I can actually find items to leverage to send in replenishables. Replenishables are huge.
Okay, so you maybe try to double your wholesale contacts.
Hmm.
Okay, so wholesale. any general tips for finding wholesalers?
So for me, what I do is if I like an item, like let's say I find this at a retail store, it's a Scotty peeler, but let's just pretend it's something else. Yeah, I would track down the manufacturer of it and work backwards to try to see if they have a website where I can apply for maybe a wholesale account with them.
Gotcha. Okay, that's very obvious. Just find something that's selling and then figure out
Yeah,
who distributes it, right?
figure out, and it's pretty easy because most companies, the packaging, their their name is on the package. So like I
Right.
found this cap gun at a Tractor Supply that was selling like crazy, and I was able to track down that the companies in Tennessee, and I found their phone number on Google. And so it's you can just call them and say, "Hey, can I wholesale this?"
Right. So do you have like a company website set up, or do you have a business email when you're contacting these wholesalers? What makes them want to wholesale to you?
So I have a business email. I have no company website. I just use my Amazon storefront if they ask for a web address, which is pretty crazy. But I want them to know I'm going to sell it on Amazon because that's something they have to know. But for me, I look for companies that don't sell online and that maybe have a small footprint. And then I leverage that and say, hey, listen, I know that you have a small footprint. I know that retail isn't doing so hot right now. I would love to wholesale with you. And you can set guidelines if you want. We can talk about it, but it's all about building the relationship and then making sure they trust you.
Hmm. So with the future coming, do you have ambitions to keep a small eBay store for stuff that you can't sell on Amazon and also garage sales, and then make your main gig? Do you want to eventually not have your day job, I guess?
Yes, yes, that's the goal. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to save up 2 to 3 years of salary and put it away in an account. And so I've paid off 87% of my debt. All I literally have is my house and like 5 grand in student loans, which will be paid off by 2 months from now, like my student loans will. So my goal is like for my eBay store is to have a smaller one. We're getting ready to move hopefully next year from Illinois to Alabama to southern Alabama by the Gulf, so we can be by the ocean. And I'm looking for a big workshop. I'm going to hire like 2 or 3 eBay employees and have eBay pretty much run itself. And then
Mm.
that way I can really focus on Amazon.
Man, that is so much harder than it is than saying it.
I
Trying to
know.
figure out the like 2 to 3 employees sounds fantastic. It is so hard in practice.
Because
Um,
when I worked at Target, I'm taking Target's model. I'm going to hire a picture taker, a lister, and an order picker, and so it would literally be kind of in sync.
can you repeat that? Picture taker.
Lister and an order picker. And so what I'll do is I'm looking to, this is a little bit weird, but once I get the place I want to do business at, I'm going to have bins and I'm going to have everything numbered. But what I want to look into is actually getting a system installed where you can take a zebra scanner and scan the bin and then scan the item to that bin and it updates to like an inventory catalog.
Got you. Cool. Let's talk about subscriptions. What are
Mm-hmm.
you paying for each month?
A lot. I probably spend each month, uh, I would probably say at least 500 to 600, $700 in subscriptions. My
Damn.
favorite one is Inventory Lab.
Okay.
And so Inventory Lab, it's $50 a month. And really what it does is you can scan items, build a shipment on Inventory Lab for Amazon, and then send it over to Amazon
Mm-hmm.
to process the rest of the shipment, like labels and stuff like that. Why I use it is because when you're building the shipment on Amazon, it's quite a bit more difficult, and so Inventory Lab cuts out a lot of time. Uh, the main things that you need when you sell on Amazon is I really like Inventory Lab, so that'd be one. Then you need a repricer. So I have a repricer. There's a lot of great repricers out there, but I pay $240 a month for my repricer because it's a really good one. It's by inform.co. Um, It's like 240 a month, but you can, like Channel Max and all those companies have great repricers, but it's hard to find a good repricer that works good with books. So
Mm.
Channel Max is really good with books too, and it's $40 a month. And so if you're on a budget, that's good to have. And then I have like GoDaddy bookkeeping, so I have, I pay quite a bit for subscriptions.
And then you have obviously you're paying $40 for Amazon Professional. Do you use BrickSeek?
Yes, I pay 30 for the extreme version for that. So 30.39. So I'm doing the extreme version, and then I'm trying to think of all of them. I have so many. And then for the most part, like I pay for Scout IQ, which is books, so it's $14 a month. And so I do still sell a lot of books because there's still good money in them. Um, but Scout IQ is a great thing to have. But now I use this app called Scoutify 2. And Scoutify 2 actually comes free if you purchase Inventory Lab for $50 a month, then you get it for free.
Okay.
And then Keepa. I have Keepa, so I also pay for that.
How much is Keepa?
I think I'm paying like 17 a month, I think. I did the annual plan. So if you do the annual plan, you pay in bulk, but then you save some money. So I paid like $600 or $700 for, to pay up front.
Hmm. Let me think here. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around what it looks like to be an FBA seller. I know what being an eBay seller is like for me, but being an FBA, are you focused on your route? If you start RA and then do you focus on like 2 hours a day? I'm emailing people for wholesale. Because I just personally do not know any FBA sellers around here. And Patty's on the call, and she had mentioned that she had reached out to you. Um, I need an FBA friend. I feel like that's a super hack.
Right, right, right. And so, like, I would be happy to help you with anything, Chris. I mean,
Sure.
give me a call. I'll be there. But like for me, my day is like this. So I'm constantly battling, uh, leveraging and eBay and Amazon together. So I have to let eBay slide some weeks in order to do Amazon. And so for me, what it is I'm looking for deals on BrickSeek and off BrickSeek that I can buy to make money. As soon as I find a couple deals, I am on the road picking them up, seeing kind of how they are in stores. So like if I take, this pair of scissors, which I bought scissors for FBA before, sounds dumb, but they're $1. And let's say I can find them in, you know, 30 stores, there's 100 of them each, but I want to make sure. So I'm going to hit some stores and I'm going to make sure that they're there because Walmart and all these retailers now are pulling more clearance into the back to not sell it because, there's reasons for that. We'll get into that another day, but so I'm seeing if they're on the shelf, and if they are, then I hit the road and I start picking them up a lot. And then the next day, if I source that day, I ship it out. And so I'm building shipments, shipping everything out. And then there's some days where I'm just basically going into my repricer and repricing stuff and making sure that my minimums and maximums are set. And then what I do is I try to keep a schedule and I try to set each week what I do. So if I source for Amazon on Monday or like Friday, then I need to be doing back end stuff Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and also eBay.
And you don't have any help with this.
No, all
That's
solo.
that's amazing. That's very hard. So I have a question. If you do you see, and you're also doing YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like things are going down as you add, like, can they all go up at the same time slowly?
I think so, yeah. And for me, YouTube, I took a little bit of a step back because I was doing daily content. So on top of all this, I did daily content for almost 6 months and managed it pretty well. But for me, I took a step back because I'm doing a little bit different spin on my YouTube channel. And I want to be sure that I'm doing good content. So if that means that I have to put a video out 5 to 6 days a week or 4 days a week, I'm fine with that. And so I realized like YouTube, I had to kind of get off of daily content because it was too much. Um, and that's kind of like why I took a step back of daily content, but it's hard. It's hard to manage all three of those. It's not easy.
Hmm. FBA. Okay, so let's talk. Let's talk for me. I'm gonna selfishly use you for this. I'm going
Absolutely.
after I am done with my eBay challenge of building $1,000 weeks from zero. I'm gonna try FBA. So I don't want people to be discouraged because the on my eBay challenge I'm starting with $200. So it's like very minimal, and it's gonna be really slow. But it's unfair if I go spend a ton of money on Amazon. FBA is different than most people. So what is a good challenge? I see there's a lot of book challenges that people start with, but what do you recommend for someone that's going to start doing something? I guess my goal would be, let's just start with the goal of 10,000 gross.
I would say books would be good to start out because RA is you need a bankroll. Like there's days where I go out and spend $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I think RA you need a bankroll, but I think that books, if you're going to do a challenge, books would be amazing for that.
Hey, Chris, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Is there a threshold for like the rate of return that you're looking for? Like every time I've thought about doing books, I just can't even figure out how people are making money. And when I do my arbitrage stuff, like I'm at the stores, I'm not sure if people are investing $12 to make $3 at an FBA kind of thing. Or do you have a threshold that you try to stick to, either with sell through or how much you want to get back?
Did you get that question, Shane?
Yeah, for me, and I was thinking how to word it. So I like 50% on RA. So if I go and buy something for $5, I want to try to get $5 back as profit. 50% gives you enough room to wiggle because if the price tanks on it, you have some room to drop the price and still make a couple bucks. And a lot of people say, hey, making $2 is crazy, or making 5 on 5 is crazy. And Amazon was built on a volume base. So if you can do a lot of volume very quickly, like the sales velocity is insane. An example is when I picked up the Monopoly from Millennials and sold 140 of those. I sold 40 in 1 hour, 40 of them in 1 hour, which is insane. So for books, and I think that answers that question. For books are a little trickier. Books tank really fast on a lot of books, but textbooks hold, but textbooks are seasonal. So you have to ride the wave on the season, and then the other books will tank very quickly. So that's why I have a repricer and I have it set all the way down to making like 10 cents because I'm trying to capture the sale before it tanks, and I want to be out in front of everyone else on the repricing. But that's why a lot of people don't make money on books is they don't have a repricer set up. So they send them in, they hold them, and they're trying to manually change the price by hand. And when you manually change that price, my repricer is going to reprice instantly. So I automatically meet you or do a penny less than you. And then you turn it off, you go about your day, and you don't realize, hey, I just got outpriced 2 seconds after I changed my price.
How realistic is it to get a box a day?
A box of books today,
I have unlimited time.
very realistic. When I first started on Amazon FBA, my first month, I did 3,000 in used books. And I went around to every single thrift store every day and scanned at every one on every shelf and scanned every book. And I also hit library sales on Saturday. And so I think that you can get a box a day pretty easy, but that's why I use Scout IQ though. Because Scout IQ, I will send books in, like you scan it, it beeps green if it's good, it beeps red if it's not. It shows you an E-score, and the E-score is what it sells for or what it sells in amount every 6 months. And I have sent books in the 25 million rank before and sold them in a week. And I think that Scout IQ is an amazing tool to use.
Gotcha. So the question of what sales rank to stay below depends.
Yeah, it depends on, because see, then you got the seasonal textbooks. So I'll scan a book in Scout IQ, and if it beeps green on my phone, I look at the e-score. So the e-score is how many times it sells in 6 months. So on books, I necessarily don't look at a rank. I don't stay below a certain rank. I actually look at e-score on Scout IQ, because it tells you like it might sell 36 times in 6 months, but it has a 10 million rank because it just hasn't sold in a little while. I also look at profit versus fees, storage fees. So if the book has a $2 profit and a bad e-score, I'll probably throw it back. But if it has a $30 profit with a bad e-score, I'll probably send it in. But I sent in a book that I sent in. The price is $949 on the book, and it has an e-score of 1, which means it sells 1 time every 6 months, 2 times a year.
Okay. So go ahead, Michael.
I was just gonna ask that. I mean, I have to assume that that's mostly textbooks that you're dealing with. Like, it's not big publisher just stuff that everybody's reading. It's like textbooks and stuff that you're going to be making that kind of money at. Correct?
Some. I scan a lot of nonfiction, self-help, stuff like that. Those books, religious books, will sell for crazy money. I've sold Bibles on Amazon for $30 plus. I sold a Jewish hand step. It was like a Jewish step-by-step Bible for like 140, and I paid $2 at a thrift store for it. That was used. Yeah.
Is
Nice.
Shane, is the what's it called here? Do you do any online arbitrage for Amazon?
Absolutely. And books are great for that because you sell them used anyway. So if I get a book that's really good, of course I'm going to look on eBay for it. And I'm going to look and see how many people have it. And I'll even shoot them offers on it to get it for 10, $15, that if it's selling for 100 plus, to send it in.
Do you use eFlip at all?
I don't. I probably should, but I just do it all manually by hand. So if I get a book that's good at a thrift store and I scan it, I'll sell it, and then I'll get on eBay and I'll type in the ISBN, type in the title, and sort from lowest to high and just sort through.
Do you have any hacks for your keeping your scanner charged?
Absolutely. So I actually, so I have a KDC 200. It's a really, really good scanner. I love it. And I actually keep, if I'm outsourcing, I will take the cord with me and I will literally throw it in my car on the way there and in between places to charge it up on like a little plug for your cigarette lighter.
Okay.
Or you can, I do have a power pack. Like I have a 14,000 mAh, external charger power pack, and I will take that with me as well.
Okay. So basically, you charge it in between driving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about driving. Do you have a route? Is it
Oh yeah.
traffic?
So a lot of times when I'm doing RA, I will make a route, and there's a thing called in route. It's for iPhone, and you can purchase it. It's a few bucks like one-time purchase, and it helps you make a route. So I will actually like find stuff on Brickseek, find stuff, or if I'm hitting stores now on Brickseek, I just basically, like if I'm hitting Walgreens, I will go to en route and I will set a circle in an area and type Walgreens, and every Walgreens in that area pops up. And then I just follow that, and then I just reset it after I get to the last one.
And have you ever had a SKU and then drove to every store to get the same exact thing? Is that common?
All the time. So I did windshield wipers a while back ago, and I picked up over 250 of them and sold out less than a month, and I made about $2,000 on them. And they were $3.99, selling for about 18 to 22. So there was a little bit of a window, but I picked up a ton of those. Another example would be iHome mirror. I have a video on these iHome mirrors I picked up like last fourth quarter, and I found them for $12, and I was selling them for $89.99 on Amazon. I picked up like 55 of them, and I just stayed out the entire night and didn't get home till like 6 in the morning.
Any tips on car maintenance or picking the right car for this? Do you need a van?
Yeah, you probably should get a van. I have a Ford Fusion, so it's probably not set up great for that, but a van would be primo, because you have a lot of space, or an SUV, something like that. But honestly, like I actually get large Walmart boxes. I'll tape them up, and I put one in my back seat. And since my car is a little smaller, everything I buy, I just put in the box. And most of the time, you can fit a lot of items in that, and it helps really kind of sort it out and make it a little neater.
How do you feel about the people who have this set up in their car?
I think it's awesome. I know people who ship on the road, and so I'm going to try a trip like that in August. We're going to Alabama, and I'm going to do a ton of RA, and I'm going to take all my equipment with me, and I'm going to ship it from the hotel room and see how that works. But I've heard of people like doing vans and sprinters and then putting beds in there and doing shipping like from there. So it'd be awesome.
How difficult is it? Like, could you just retrofit a laptop in your car and then a printer and then just drop it off on the way home? The reason why I mention this is because I have a friend that does eBay this way. So he only shops at the Goodwill outlet. And this is insane to me. He goes there when they open at 9 a.m. to that location, buys stuff till about 2, lists it on the ground at the Goodwill outlet, puts it into a box, goes home, puts it away, and there's no work at home at all. He's like listing there. So I'm wondering if you could list on the road, but maybe it's easier just to do it at home.
You could actually, with Amazon, you could do it on the road pretty easily. You could get a laptop, maybe get a stand for it. And as long as you had good Wi-Fi, you could, like, as soon as you picked it up, you could inspect it. But then, a lot of the clearance stickers, you got to take those off. And I use a heat gun. So this is going to kind of blow people's minds. I use a heat gun, and I use a Scotty peeler.
Wow.
But to get the residue off of the stuff, I use lighter fluid. And you can put this on a towel and wipe the residue, and it comes right off, and it absorbs. It goes away very quick.
So Stephanie is asking, when you started, were you intimidated to scan in retail stores, and how do you handle employees that don't like scanners?
So I wasn't really I'm pretty I can handle confrontation. So for me, I wasn't really afraid to scan. I was more afraid to record in a store. And after a while, that just became normal. Now now there are a bunch of places that don't like scanners. Like library sales, there's some that say no scanners. I take my scanner and I roll right up in there, and I don't make eye contact. I don't say nothing, because most of the time they're not going to say nothing if you're not bothering people. They want to make money off of you. It all comes down to you're paying for all the items that you scan.
Let's go with Patty has a question for you. I think Patty has a question. There she is.
Not really a question, but Hi, Shane.
Hey, Patty, what's up?
Not much. No, I was literally using my Scotty peeler, my lighter fluid, as you were saying that.
Yep.
Awesome. So are you buying your lighter fluid on Amazon, or is it cheaper locally?
Cheaper locally. It is
cheaper locally.
All right.
No more expensive.
Got to get hazmat approved.
And then the heat gun. I'm going to install one on my desk. So where or how? I'm trying to think of the right placement so that I can just quickly remove tags. Heating it up with lighter fluid should be very seamless.
Oh, it is too, because you have this. So if you can maybe elevate it somehow to come to a down angle, you can just hold it underneath and then pull it out.
Okay, I will do that.
Something like this, maybe like a stand or something.
Okay, exciting. Frank, do you have a method for removing labels?
I used to use a heat gun, but I realized if you peel off, like for instance, Target clearance stickers, if you peel them off from the side a certain way and grab all three at the same time and slowly peel it, it's quick. So very few times, like even at Savers or Goodwill, those can come off if you do it carefully. And by the time you do the heat gun and the adhesive remover, and then as far as adhesive, the duck adhesive remover works pretty good too. And then anything left over from any of these things you use, like a Windex takes it right off and takes the odor away too. So
That's awesome.
All right. Let's see, Shane. What other thoughts do you have on what things do people need to know as they're getting started?
Basically, they need to know. They need to learn the rules. That's the one main important thing. And if you don't know the rules, you can get suspended extremely quickly on Amazon. Before you even get started, you can get suspended. So sit down, know the rules, read, all the rules. There is a great tool on Amazon. It's a seller's university, and you can go through and watch videos, and it tells you step by step what you need to do. It is a very easy transition when you're using the seller university. So use that for a couple days before you even start on Amazon to learn the rules. Because Amazon isn't like eBay. Like if you get in trouble on eBay, you get a little hand smack, and they're like, don't do that again. Amazon just suspends you. And then you have to pay an Amazon lawyer to get you unsuspended if they can. And so number one thing is learn the rules. I would say number two is focus on things that you're not restricted in. The number one reason of why I think Amazon sellers fail is they're so focused on, I can't sell this, I can't sell that, and then they just quit. I think that if they focus on what they're actually not restricted in, like books and stuff, just focus on it and have fun, you're going to get way more out of it.
Do you listen to anything in particular while you're working?
So I'm a huge Grant Cardone fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I listen to a lot of Grant Cardone podcasts and stuff while I'm working. Huge Gary Vee fan. I also listen to a bunch of just like random podcasts. You know what I mean? I love podcasts. So,
any resources or people that we should follow as we get started?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of Amazon. There's a lot of Amazon content on YouTube. There's a ton, and a lot of it is kind of mixed. You're going to get a lot of bad info. There's a lot of bad info out there. So I mean, Scott the Bearded Picker, he's always pretty spot on with everything. And, there's a guy called Flipping Junk, and his name's Wick, and he is a very, very smart Amazon seller. So I've always kind of, stuck with the people that I've known, because there's, like I said, a lot of bad info when it comes to Amazon.
Okay. Let's see if I have any other questions for you. Basically, how much money depends on where you get started. I will avoid telling people where you shop.
Thanks, Chris.
But then do you feel like you're going to the same stores in your routine?
Absolutely. A lot of it's the same store, and a lot of it's about learning a store. And I feel like if you don't learn the store, you can't be successful. And what I mean by that, it's learning the markdowns, learning when, I know like on Walgreens, every Sunday they do different tags. So they'll pull down the tags, they'll reset them. At Target, every Sunday, they do the same thing. So if you can learn a store, learn when management's marking stuff down, but also it's building relationships in stores. Like I walked into Walmart yesterday, and there's a guy that, it was Home Depot, and the guy said, "Hey, I'm off tomorrow, but the clearance section is going to double in size Wednesday. So good, don't forget to stop by because I'm going to put a ton of stuff on clearance."
That is a fantastic tip. So learning a store is definitely the staff,
Mm-hmm.
the location of goods. It's also their labeling system.
Yeah, learn how they label. Target, like, here's a good example. clearance items at Target are going to be all over the board because they don't have a lot of regional markdowns. They do some, but I was an executive at Target for 2.5 years. And here's their labeling system. They have a markdown team. And if they're working in an area one day and they notice clearance isn't selling, they take their scanner and go beep, an extra 20% off on clearance. Beep, and they set pretty much everything.
So at these, like when, like Walmart does not match Walmart.com.
Not anymore, no. And they don't even match store to store anymore.
They don't even match store to store. That's right. But Target does.
Yes. Well, for now, the last time I had track, there is a ton of retailers where Target will price match. So they have a little iPad. And they'll look them up and they'll just confirm the price. They even match Amazon as long as it's fulfilled by Amazon.
You know what I heard for the first time ever? Guitar Center will only match FBM.
That's crazy, actually.
It's very odd. They won't match FBA.
Because usually the FBA is a little bit higher price.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I've never heard that before. They're like, yeah, the Amazon Prime price is not, we just match the merchant fulfilled because it's usually a little bit higher. And I was surprised that exists. Like who cares if you are that company? Is it that big of an issue? But that being said, maybe they're losing a lot of money. And I wonder if people, to me, it seems like you could game the system. You can send in your own item. And when it hits FBA, you have them match your own item. But maybe it doesn't work that way because it'll sell so quick if it's priced lower than the market.
A lot of it sells fast. And I mean, I didn't send a shipment in for 3 weeks. And so my sales were anywhere from 700, 600 to 1,000 a day average. So I was averaging, more specific, about 600 to 650 a day. And I would usually go over that every other day. And I didn't send a shipment in for 3 weeks. I sold out of half of my ASINs, and now I'm averaging like 80 to 100 a day. And I'm like, crap. So now I'm going to have to send a ton of stuff in. So that's why I've been working so late every day, is just sending as much in as I can to recoup those sales and get them kind of blasted up again.
Yeah, it seems like, is this like a hamster wheel where like if you're not working, Amazon's not working for you? Do you feel like it's a feed the beast?
You gotta feed the beast. And so what I mean by that is you have to be sending in shipments as much as possible. And like I said, I had so much in, and then I just went on this, I just got really burned out, and I took 3 weeks off and I didn't send any in, and my sales plummeted because of that. So I feel like if you send in a couple shipments a week just to maintain it, like if I wanted to take some time off, I think next time I'm just going to maybe send in like 1 shipment a week to maintain it. And then if I want to increase it, then start sending in more. But it definitely is. Yes.
Does it feel like a job to you?
No, it's way better. I mean, I think that anytime that you have your own business, like I have a federal EIN, I have a reseller's license, and I have a DBA. I feel like if you have your own business, it's going to be always more than a job, because you should be putting the time into it. I mean, but you need to also understand that having a business is not easy. You know, there's a lot of trials to it.
Okay. I'm trying to think here because I kind of want to treat this like a job. All of the things I've done that I've had success in are very organized. So I'm just trying to think.
Well, and I know, like, by seeing like how you do Poshmark, how you do all this, it's very organized. You have it set very specifically. And I know that if you can do this with FBA, like the possibilities are endless.
I know it's scary. So we'll see what happens.
It is very scary.
Because I don't have to do all the others. There's so much stuff that Amazon will do for you.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. And also, above all else, I am committed to making sure my account is as perfect as possible, because it's kind of like I wonder, that's, you know, because people talk about, oh, if you save $12 a day, you'll be a millionaire in 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Well, but $12 a day on Amazon's easy. If you just sent money, if you just put money into your Amazon business and never took it out, it just went into an investment account, I wonder what would happen after like 10 years.
Oh, you would have a lot of money. I honestly can tell you that, okay, by selling on Amazon, And what I've done now, like I've only been selling on Amazon for 10 months on FBA. I merch fulfilled for a year and hated it. I quit Amazon because I failed and I got mad and I never did it again. So then I went into FBA 10 months ago and I love it. So I actually pretty much spend a lot of money on inventory, all this stuff, but I still have like about, by next month, I will have 40% of what my house is worth in my bank account.
Wow. That's exciting.
Yeah. And you know, it's kind of and that's with buying inventory and spending a lot of money on inventory and clearance and stuff like that.
Could you pay your bills on eBay and save Amazon?
I probably could if I scaled it up a little bit more. I don't. So I sell a decent amount on eBay, but it's like real sporadic because I just don't usually have time. So I'll just send like 100 listings to my VA and have her list them. And then each week, that's what I'll do. Like I don't list myself on eBay because I just don't have time. But if I scaled it up, I think I could. And it would be pretty easy, I think.
That because also Patty had shared a concept, which is like maybe you work on Amazon and then as you reduce your death pile. Have you noticed that you switched to FBA 10 months ago? Is the amount of stuff that's in your house reduced?
It is, but it's also because I keep buying for eBay. So that's why I started kind of scheduling out my weeks. So this week I'm doing Amazon probably up until Wednesday or Thursday, and then I'm switching to eBay, and I need to get some pictures. I need to send listings to my lister, and I know I have to do that. And so that's why I break them up, because if it's a balance, you're going to reduce your eBay death pile, but then also anything you can find, you're sending to Amazon.
Gotcha. I'm thinking here. I love this concept of trying to figure out how, because I learned something from Tech and Sports. He, in my opinion, is one of the top resellers ever. He told me that the trick to reselling is not having one category dip as you add on another category. So he has vintage hats, and he gets 10 a week, and then he has vintage jerseys, and then but the thing is, there are not weeks where he doesn't do that minimum quantity in each category. And when he does Amazon, he has a computer repair business. He has a hurricane relief business. Every time he adds something to his bucket, the other ones do not dip. Like, that's so hard to organize yourself to do that, because he's like, if you end up one goes up and the other goes down, the actual rebounding of that other account is so hard, but maintaining is easier. Trying to rebuild is very difficult. So that's something interesting, because if your Amazon account's doing 600 a day and then you take sort of a mental break, it doesn't take very long for it to go back down to 100 a day.
Couple weeks. And that's why now I'm rebounding, because I took that time off. So I went on a big sourcing trip, and I've sent in like 6 shipments in the last 6 to 7 days. So I'm about a shipment a day right now. And so, like, even when I first started out on FBA, I was sending in about a shipment, or as many shipments as I could a day. And that's why I was really just trying to blast the warehouse with inventory so it would just sell through quick.
I'm going to modify my goal because of what you just said too. Instead of a box a day, I'm going to do 5 boxes a week.
Nice.
Because the nature of it is some days you don't do it at all. So I want to definitely factor that in. This is not like push-ups.
Right. It's not. No.
It's very different. So, okay. That is phenomenal. So we got keeping the metrics going. Let me think here. If there's any other questions, I think we're pretty much tapped out. Does anybody else have any questions or thoughts or ideas? No, we're all good. All right, cool. So everyone, I will put a link to Shane's channel in the description below, and I'm going to open it up for a private Q&A now and stop recording. But I'll see you guys next week on the next interview show.